Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on, YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I have something absolutely mind-blowing to share with you guys. I have already been in this box. Usually I open these and, just sort of react organically to what's in them, but I'm going to be honest with you, I've already been in it. And the reason is because what we're looking at today is far more complicated than what we normally look at. And I wanted to do this justice. I wanted to do the makers justice because this is truly spectacular. It is incredibly rare that I handle anything of this magnitude. And truthfully, I've never seen complexity like this. Now, many of you who follow me on Instagram have seen this knife. If you were, if you took part in any of my recent live streams, you probably also saw it. But I really want to share this with people. And I also want to let you guys know, the knife in this box is incredibly expensive. Incredibly expensive. So if that's not your jam, no problem. But that's what this is. That's what we're going to be talking about today. Thanks so much to Polish Custom Knives for letting me showcase this and just allowing me to experience this product because I would not be familiar with these people's work if it wasn't for Polish Custom Knives. So I will link these makers down in the description at Polish Custom Knives. It does help my channel when you use those links, but that's up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me. I do have a message from Polish Custom Knives pulled up on my iPad over to the left, and I'm going to read that. I don't want to fumble around and get this information incorrect because it's pretty important with something like this during an unboxing, right? A lot of times it's the reviews that have all of those details, but in this case, this is kind of a special unboxing, so I really want to get all of this information correct. I'm putting on gloves not because it's delicate, but because I don't want to screw up any of the finishes. I want you guys to be able to experience this thing in full glory. Here's the card. So Lesbar, that's what we're looking at here, Lesbar knives. It comes from the first three letters of each individual maker's last names. So that's where we get that. This is called the Aviator Bifrost, number 2561 HRC damage steel. We have a combination of titanium 6L4V and then 3MO. It might actually be in combination with the titanium, which would imply that this is a special grade of titanium. I'll have to get additional information from Polish Custom Knives before I do the full review, which is not what we're doing today. And then we have a bunch of additional materials here. This looks complicated. Just wait till you see the knife. Just wait. We have, the usual stuff, right? The cleaning cloths and things like that. But the knife itself, this is far more. Let's take some time to just experience this with some good light. Look at this. Now, sometimes people, who watch my channel say things like, anything that's made by a machine is not impressive. You just push a button and there it is, it's made. Here we have a knife that really throws that statement out the window. This is one of those things that immediately identifies people who say things like that as people who have absolutely no idea what they're talking about, right? Everybody likes to kind of reduce things to, basically to simplify things so that they can comprehend them. And I think that sometimes, I'm trying to be nice here. I'm trying to be nice. I think people do that, if they're frustrated at something being in a price tier that doesn't make sense for the object that it is. So if they reduce it to something simple that they can comprehend, it allows them to critique it negatively, which obviously doesn't apply here. So this is the type of machine work that you just can't say that about. Look at the detail. Look at the detail of this knife. Love it or hate it. Love it or hate it. It is impressively complex. I mean, this is the type of knife that takes, the name of this channel and gives it meaning. Metal Complex. There's a bunch of jokes in there, right? Like the whole, you could replace the word metal with mental and it would make sense, right? This was all part of, naming the channel in the beginning. Also the obvious, we like to look at things that are made of metal, various metals and other materials that are complex by nature. But this really puts definition to it. This is spectacular. Oh, and again, let's now take a look at the blade, which is a mirrored damasteel, with a mirror polished edge. And before you even ask, is the action spectacular? Yes, it is. And so is the D10. It is exactly what, well, I mean, no, it's far beyond what you would expect. This is top tier. I mean, there are some things, you know, like I handle it, I get it out, and there are immediate indicators. Top tier. Everything's going to be perfect. That's the way that this is. This is beyond, 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 right? Absolute masterclass, you know, in that territory of best action that I've ever felt, up there with a bunch of, it seems like I say that a lot, but I handle a lot of stuff, right? So I have certain expectations by tier. I don't expect this type of action on a $50 knife, regardless of whether or not you can get fall shot action on a $50 knife. You can. But is it the same? No, it isn't. Absolutely not. This is a frictionless fall shot. The D10, oh, it's so spectacular. This is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And you know what? For something that's super dressy and artsy and, you know, it sort of it invokes that typical, like, that looks like a gas station knife thing that people say. For something that has that kind of vibe, I feel like the flow is really, really good, right? These you know, really crazy high-end custom knife designs, right? Machine elements are not. What you get here is over-the-top aesthetic, over-the-top in terms of design. Whether or not it you know, actually benefits the end user in terms of functionality, it's kind of goes out the window, right? We're trying to create, the makers were trying to create something that is beautifully complex here, and they did. But I think it actually works a lot better than some of the custom knives that I've seen where it's just sort of chaotic, right? You could define it that way as chaotic, but look at the edges. I mean, this in here, this sort of bubble of what I assume is titanium Damascus is radiused, outlined by this. It's like it's laid into titanium that's been milled, and then they've anodized that outline, and then the border beyond that is sort of concave milled titanium that's been anodized blue and purple. Within the areas, right, within this titanium frame, they have an additional area that's been milled out, and within that area, there are little squares that vary in size depending on where we are with this line, and within those squares is diagonal milling. Oh my God! What on earth am I looking? This is ridiculous. Look at the backspacer. I'm trying to be calm and tell you guys what I feel about this. Just crazy, right? We have the pearl inlay. Beautiful. Look how this all comes together and highlights the pivot in a way that it looks good. It looks like it's all part of the design. You almost forget that the pivot is the thing responsible for allowing the blade to swing. You can actually stick a tool in there and pull it out. But it's so perfectly integrated, right? Even the screws are so perfectly integrated, you don't forget that they're there because they look just like the surrounding material. I mean, everything looks so perfectly placed. I love this area right here. We have this raised, look at this. It goes over the top of it. This raised piece of carbon fiber, which looks like it's got some gold in there too. And then this piece that's sort of like, it's like an elongated pivot collar, right? Because this is independent. That has an inlay of pearl, which also goes over, it bridges the gap here between this bubble of titanium Damascus onto the carbon fiber. Lays into it, and then there's a little screw there at the end. Look how perfect the inlay work is. Perfection. Perfection. There's not a boring area, even underneath the pocket clip. Areas where they could have been lazy. Look at the relief cut. I hadn't even looked. I hadn't even seen it. The relief cut has areas that are cut out and anodized, so they contrast with the surrounding titanium. Oh my gosh. This is unreal. Absolutely unreal. On top of that, because it actually, I mean, take away all of the dressiness, it actually has a very clean traditional profile. Similar, not identical, similar to the Bodega, which I've handled and is a totally different knife, you know, in terms of like dimensions and the feeling, but a profile similar, right? Very cool. Very, very, very cool. I mean, absolutely beautiful use of Damasteel as well. So spectacular. Spectacular in every sense of the word, right? They even gave you a lanyard hole. How nice. Okay, let's talk about this real quick here. In fact, let me zoom up here just so you guys can get a nice look at that while we're doing a little bit of reading here. Lesbar Knives was established in 2018 in Irpin. I know I've mispronounced that. I'm sorry. This is in Ukraine. As a collaboration project of Ole Lesuchevsky, again, sorry for the mispronunciation, and Stan Baranovsky, right? Lesbar Knives. Two friends have decided to join their efforts in making high-quality folding knives. Ole has been making knives since 1993. When he was 18, his stepfather decided to bring him into the family business. In that period, there were primarily fixed-blade hunting knives. They were primary fixed-blade hunting knives, with I'm sure is what they meant. After graduation from Kiev State University in 2005, he tried to work as an economist, but after a short period, he returned to his stepfather's shop to become a full-time knife maker. I'm really glad that he made that decision because look at what we have here today. One day, Ole arrived at Stan's shop to order a few silver parts for his new project, and when the work has been completed, proposed to make knives together. Stan is a third-generation bench jeweler. At 6, he began to learn the art of hand engraving. At 13, he began working as an apprentice to his father. After graduation from a local college, he moved to Los Angeles, where he studied jewelry design and worked as an antique restorer. Still, he's always wanted to make knives. I like fine mechanics. This is in quotes. I always tried to implement it when making jewelry. Very cool. After 4 years, he came back home and returned to the jewelry business, occasionally making knives for himself and his friends. But meeting with Ole, he decided to abandon jewelry and focus on knife making. In quotes again, each time we create a new knife, I consider it from an aesthetical point of view. Ole cares about usability and function. I see knives as objects of art. Perfect combination, especially in this territory. This is me talking right now. This is a perfect combination of perspectives, right? Especially considering the people who like to buy stuff like this want both. So that's a dream, combination of perspectives and backgrounds, right? It's not just a perspective; it's an actual, they're practiced backgrounds. They're so perfectly implemented. They're tools and weapons. We complement each other well. Yeah, definitely. And then this is from Polish Custom Knives directly. These knives blow my mind. The first thing that struck me when I picked up the Lesbar Aviator was how incredibly lightweight it is. And he's right. It is incredibly, incredibly lightweight. I'll actually put it on the scale for you guys here real quick. But absolutely beautiful. We've already, handled it with gloves, so I don't mind getting fingerprints on it at the moment. I'm going to try and set it down on top of this sticker so that we don't touch anything else. The sticker just being slightly higher, 3.7 ounces, considering this is not a small knife. I'll give you guys a measurement here. The overall length of this guy is coming in at 8.75 inches. How about that blade? Oh, it's just shy. I'm going to say 3.9. Is that a 4-inch blade? I just don't want to touch the edge there. I'm going to give it, that's a 4-inch blade. Really impressive ratios. Really, really impressive ratios. Again, I cannot stress enough the disengagement and the action, right? I mean, we get caught up in the aesthetic, but the disengagement and the action is in that top tier, that over-the-top, masterclass. This is, in my opinion, far better than Shirogorov, right? I mean, I love Herman knives, but this is in a different class. This is in a class above Herman knives in terms of detent, the feeling of smoothness, right? Very few knives that I have handled on this channel have action that is in this territory, right? Again, fall shut, that's only one element. But having that perfect combination of the shape of the flipper tab, the break of the detent in relationship with the weight and mass of the blade, right? That first initial break, that second initial crack into the open position, and then when the knife is disengaged, being able to tell exactly where the blade is while my eyes are closed would be impossible with this knife because it is legitimately that smooth. It's a zero friction knife. I don't know what's going on internally in the bearings, but this is impossible levels of quality in every single element of this knife. Absolutely beautiful. That's not easy to do, to get that high of a, you can actually see that this is engraved into the blade. Oh my gosh, I almost missed it. That's really cool. I actually think that's real classy because it's like hidden within the Damasteel there. But to have the etch and the high polish, like at this level, have I seen this before? Have I seen like a high polish on Damasteel? Yeah. At this level, not usually at this level. Perfect bevel all the way through. Absolutely stunning. This is really, really cool, guys. And of course, is the blade center? Of course it is. Of course. Perfect. Whoo, boy, wow, that is really, really cool. Okay, so there are these are expensive. You're talking multiple thousands of dollars. Obviously, I feel like you guys probably could have guessed, but these will be linked at Polish Custom Knives. I still want you guys to check out the makers, be aware of them. Right? They don't have Instagram. Really feel like they should, because this is the type of thing that should be showed off on, even though the knife community is getting absolutely decimated over there. Decimated is not even, we're getting obliterated over there by the algorithm controlling, what knife content is showcased. But yeah, I wish that they had, a lot of like sort of gallery-esque images and videos that people could go look at. So I'm really happy to showcase this. I hope more people check them out. Because, if you value my opinion as somebody who owns a lot of knives in the multi-$1,000 territory, not everybody watches my channel for that specific type of content, but if you do value my opinion on knives in that territory, this is some of the absolute best that I have ever handled. This is the type of knife that I would gladly spend that type of money on for my own collection. In fact, I might. So let's go ahead and be done there. More to come in the final review. Or final showcasing, really, because this isn't a knife that I'm going to carry and use and do a review on like I normally do. This is going to be more information, right? But more details to come. Very, very cool. Not the last time you'll see this knife. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.